Today we're going to talk about Your Money or Your Life by Dominguez and Vicki Robin. And this is a book that is about finances in a way that is different from a lot of financial books. A lot of financial books will be like, oh, you're drowning, let's get things under control. Or, oh, you want to have these things, then think really big and imagine and make a big vision board. And they legitimize wanting stuff, and they make it seem okay to be very materialistic just as long as you live within your means. Well, Your Money or Your Life says money should be your tool so you can have the life you want, right? That you need to stop wanting stuff that's going to burden you. One of the things, you know, every time, and I have totally been able to change my perspective about this, because now when I buy like a lawnmower or a car or a pair of shoes, I think, I just purchased one more thing I have to take care of. And I had better really want it, because it's going to take life energy for me to take care of it. So when we get bigger houses and we get more stuff and we get, you know, trailers to travel around the country and we get boats and we get storage units, it's more stuff to take care of, and our stuff uses up the life energy we could use to do something that we want to do. So it's costing us mentally, it's costing us in time, it's costing us in energy, and wears us out just to take care of the stuff we have. So they talk about this enough curve. It's called the fulfillment curve of enough. And so it's got, I don't know if you can see it at all. I'm kind of trying to make the camera see it. So it has, you get to this point where you have survival. So you have to climb and climb and climb until now I'm surviving. Okay, good. I can survive. And then you get to a point where you think, oh, I'm kind of comfortable. I have things that I would like, that I can enjoy, and I don't stress. Well, I guess being financially solvent and strong is another argument. And then you acquire more stuff to your comfortable, and then you acquire more luxuries, like a little bit more than is comfortable, and then it's enough. Now this idea goes back to Aristotle. I mean, there are lots of great authors that have talked about this idea that Aristotle said we need we need what makes us comfortable and a little bit more. We need our needs met and a little bit more, and anything beyond that is just superfluous. It's just unnecessary. Who cares if it's more cars? Who cares if it's more square footage? Who cares if it's more planes? It's enough. It's enough, and now we're comfortable. And so they want to help us get our minds around this idea that everything else that we accumulate after we have enough is stuff that takes us energy to maintain. Even if we have the financial resources to hire people to take care of our stuff, we have to manage the people that we've hired to take care of our stuff. You buy a pair of shoes, that's a pair of shoes you have to find a place for in your home, that you have to polish when they get, you know, or throw away, take care of, whatever it is. Every time you know, you buy a lawnmower, more decorations, whatever it is, it's more stuff to dust. It's more time out of your life because you've decided you want to acquire it. And if anything, of course, that you acquire on debt, now when you acquire those things on debt, you now you've just what's the word? You've borrowed from the future. What's the word? You've given away your future, like you've guaranteed that you have to keep working and you don't get to make more of the life that you want. I mean, talk about, you know, self-knowledge and, you know, mission or life purpose and these kind of grandiose ideas. Well, they're never attainable if we're always just trying to take care of the stuff that we've got, right? So she talks about how we have clutter and we have all this stuff and we have too much, and so it's drowning us. So then she says, okay, so we've talked about the fulfillment curve called enough. You have enough for your survival, enough for your comforts, and even some special luxuries with no excess to burden you unnecessarily. Enough is a powerful and free place, a confident and flexible place, and it's a place where you will define for yourself numerically as you follow this program. So then they take you through these exercises that help you figure out what's enough for you and where you can stop accumulating. And then they try to help you define how to use money as a tool to make the life that you want to have, which is phenomenal. So they want to get you to the point where you're clear when it's enough and you don't acquire anything else, and then you save, you get out of debt, and you put it away in a very conservative investment tool, and then you have residual, and you don't worry about money, and you spend your life doing things you want to do, which both of them have done. So it says, okay, our experience and that of seminar participants is that enough has 4 components, okay? One is accountability. Whatever it is that we acquire, we have to take care of ourselves, or we have to get somebody else to take care of it. And so we have to be accountable. And she's giving this example of a woman who started being accountable for every penny that she made, and then she had power. Second one is an internal yardstick for fulfillment. As we pointed out earlier, you can never have enough if you're measuring by what others have or think. So this has to be very internal. And I'm sure it's based partly on how you've been brought up, on things that you're used to having and that kind of thing. But every time it's a competitive or a comparison, of course, we can't get clear on what we're going to be about. And then a purpose in life higher than satisfying your wants and desires, because you can never have enough if every desire becomes a need that must be fulfilled. Desire begets desire. So it's insatiable, right? As soon as we have one want met, then we have this other thing that we want. What is a purpose higher than getting what we want? The opposite of getting is giving, and therein lies a secret to fulfillment. So you're supposed to find a life purpose that is about giving and have it drive you so much, and you have this plan in place for yourself that you know what enough is, and you acquire enough, and you put the rest of the money away, and you just engage in this giving. Can you imagine if more people did this? One of the things that a common concern that they touch on in this book that I love is when they say, they're talking about early retirement. Like they're saying, and it's not retirement because it's a plan to give. It's a plan to give back to the community. Maybe there's a new business you want to start because you love business, or maybe there's people that you want to serve somehow, or something you want to do. Well, she says, what they say is, look, if there were more people who were in a financial position to retire earlier, that would free up better paying jobs for the younger generation. And it would actually have a positive impact. As more and more people were more responsible with their money, then the whole society would flourish and thrive and go to a higher level of prosperity, because everybody would have enough instead of some people having not enough and other people having way more than enough. And so instead of having these high-level executives that have to be paid exorbitant amounts of money by the age of 50 or so, then they're done, and they hand those positions over to younger people, and they can have those growth experiences, and they can learn things they need to learn, and they can have the income source that they need, because those are your highest paying, most productive years. And so during those years you accumulate and then you retire. And the fourth one is responsibility. That means you're responsible. We choose our limits and maintain our sense of balance. So then they go about giving you, that's about halfway through the book, and then they give you all these practical helps for how to go about making plans for yourself that will be in line with what is enough. Here's 3 questions that they ask. They also help you figure out what your lifestyle demands and how much you need to be investing and what you need to invest it in. They have this chapter called The American Dream on a Shoestring. And I love that, because it's saying, we can get to the point where we have enough and we can give. Okay, so then it says, here's 3 questions. Am I likely to get fulfillment from this money spent in proportion to the resources that it represents? So the money that I have to spend now, and the money I have to spend to maintain it, and the things that I'm going to use it for, is it really actually life fulfillment? It's this concept. and my husband and I use this term, it's become a common term in our home, life fulfillment. Is that life fulfillment? Is buying that item truly going to fulfill you? Or is it just an activity you engage in? Is shopping your hobby, or accumulating stuff, or you don't know what else to do, or you can't manage your money well, or you're in competition with somebody, or you already have more than enough and you don't know what else you do with your time? Well, that's what this book's helping you get clear on. 2, is this purchase in alignment with the values that we all hold in common, the desire to survive and thrive? And 3, what would spending in this category look like if I were working for the well-being of the whole world instead of my individual survival? So those are kind of interesting questions to consider. She says, as human beings, we must all do some work for basic survival, but how much? Is there a minimum daily requirement of work? A number of diverse sources, ranging from primitive cultures to modern history, would place this figure at about 3 hours a day during the adult lifetime. So if we were interested in surviving, making sure we had shelter over our heads and food to eat and clothing on our backs, we would need to work about 3 hours a day. And so everything else that we do is just, you know, we're mortgaging, that's the word. We're mortgaging our future, right? We're blowing it out the door. We're being irresponsible, cycling, buying too much, living out of our means, or accruing, you know, huge interest rates that are going against ourselves. All kinds of, it's not an income issue for most people most of the time. It's really not. Because once you get the basic things in control, once you get your personal finances in control by living conservatively, then you do something on, you know, even if the salary can't meet your basic needs, which it almost always can, then you do something extra on the side that you love to do that's a reflection of your hobby and your interests and your gifts, and then you have more than you need, and then you start working your plan, and it's just, you can do it. So she says, our idea of leisure has changed. What we do now is that we use work as the means for being fulfilled, that work is what presents us with challenges and opportunities to grow. It's what creates our social circle. It's what feeds our confidence. And she says, consider the following list of various purposes of paid employment and see which ones apply to you. So she's got all these lists, and you're supposed to figure out, I go to work because of these reasons. Earning money, a sense of security, and she has bullet lists under these so you can look through those. Tradition, enjoyment, duty, service, learning, prestige and status, power, socializing, personal growth, success, creativity and fulfillment, time structuring, and just cuz. And those are all reasons people go to work. Then she says, and he, woman and man, any stress, confusion, or disappointment we might feel concerning our paid employment is rarely because of the pay itself. We have already seen that beyond a certain level of comfort, more money does not bring more satisfaction. Perhaps the trouble with our paid employment then is that our needs for stimulation, recognition, growth, contribution, interaction, and meaning are not being met at our jobs. What if we removed most of these expectations from our paid employment and recognized that all purposes for work other than earning money could be fulfilled by unpaid activities? So it's a restructure of the way you see money connected to your life, and the fulfillment that, you know, there are some things that money can fulfill in you and most things that it can't, and learning to separate those and look in terms of life fulfillment, to make a plan for yourself of what's enough, and then to use that standard of what's enough and what's going to keep you comfortable, and then making a plan for giving and for investing and saving. They've done it. They've helped many people do it. It really can work. And it's, you know, that's why the title, Your Money or Your Life. You can have a life, or you can have, you know, lots of money, or not have lots of money, or let money control you in some way or another. But what we want is a life, and we want to use money to get us the life that we want. So I highly recommend this as a financial primer, but also as, you know, when you're thinking about your career and life purpose, when you're thinking about, you're looking at just to find financial principles, investment ideas, how to just get your mind around what role money should play in your life. This is a fabulous, fabulous book. Your Money or Your Life, Joe Dominguez and Vicki Robin.